Let me offend you right away. If you're smart and you're still not making money with AI, the problem is not that you haven't learned enough. The problem is that you picked an invisible model that cannot pay you, no matter how talented you become inside it. And that's the part nobody wants to admit, because it's way more comfortable to believe the missing piece is another course, another framework, another prompt pack, another AI agent tutorial, another weekend of research. Learning feels productive, it feels safe, it feels like progress without consequence. But if you're honest, most of you aren't building a business, you're building a library, and libraries don't pay rent. Here's the brutal truth. AI didn't make you broke. AI exposed the model you were already stuck in. AI just made it fail faster. That's why smart people suffer more. Because smart people can rationalize the trap. They can intellectualize their avoidance. They can turn perfectionism into a virtue. They can hide behind, "I'm still improving the system," while the bank account stays flat. Dumb people just sell something. Smart people build an elaborate reason why they're not ready yet.
So let's name the real enemy, the invisible model.
An invisible model is when your daily actions look like work, feel like work, even impress other smart people, but don't produce cash in a predictable way. It's when your output is information, not transformation. It's when your product is content, not an outcome. It's when your calendar is full of learning, not delivering. It's when your identity becomes someone who's preparing, not someone who's paid. And the invisible model is everywhere in the AI space right now. This is the kind of distinction I usually only make in writing, in my newsletter. I send one letter a week where I break down these models more precisely, without the noise of video. The link is below. Because AI creates the illusion that capability equals income, it doesn't. Capability is not a business. Capability is a resource. And if you don't attach it to a structure that extracts value, you're just a highly trained hobbyist.
Naval Ravikant talks about leverage, labor, capital, code, and media.
People hear that and they think, great, I'll just learn more code and use AI and become leveraged. But leverage isn't a vibe. Leverage is a deal structure. It's the difference between being the smartest employee in the room and owning the system that sells the room. The market does not pay you for intelligence. The market pays you for solved problems, in a form it can buy, with terms that protect your time. I expand on this kind of thinking in my weekly letter, without simplifying it for clicks. And right now, AI is creating a mass hallucination that the game is be early. You see it everywhere. Early to ChatGPT, early to agents, early to automation, early to whatever the new model is this week. Being early is not a business model. Being early is a marketing angle, and only if you can sell something behind it. Peter Thiel popularized the idea that competition is for losers, that you want a monopoly, that you want to be the last mover in a category with a unique advantage. People quote that and then they do the dumbest version of it. They try to be unique by being complicated. They try to be unique by stacking more skills, more tools, more jargon, more novelty. But Thiel's real point wasn't be weird, it was create power. Create a position where you can charge because you control the outcome. And control doesn't come from learning. It comes from choosing a model that forces validation. Most smart people don't choose models. They choose activities. They choose, I'll post every day. They choose, I'll build a newsletter. They choose, I'll learn how to build agents. They choose, I'll get good at video editing. They choose, I'll master prompt engineering. Those are activities, not models.
A model answers a different question.
How does value move from the market to my bank account, repeatedly, with minimal entropy? And if you can't answer that in one sentence, you're in the invisible model. Now, why do smart people stay broke with AI? Because AI massively increases optionality, and optionality is poison if you don't have structure. Historically, this isn't new. During the Industrial Revolution, the problem wasn't that people lacked tools. The problem was that people were trapped in bad arrangements. Piecework, unstable wages, no ownership, no pricing power. The machines didn't magically make workers rich. The owners of distribution, contracts, and scale made the money. Then you get Taylorism and assembly lines, and everyone celebrates efficiency. But efficiency for who? Efficiency inside a model you don't own just means you can be replaced faster. AI is the modern assembly line for knowledge work.
If your model is sell hours, AI will compress your hours. If your model is sell information, AI will commoditize your information. If your model is sell effort, AI will out-effort you instantly at near zero cost. So the smart person response is, okay, I'll become even more skilled. That's the exact wrong move. Not because skill is bad, skill is great. But skill accumulation without model validation is just procrastination with better vocabulary. And yes, I'm calling it procrastination because you're not avoiding work, you're avoiding exposure, you're avoiding the moment the market can say no. Perfectionism is a socially acceptable fear response. It's fear with a blazer on. The perfectionist says, I just need a bit more time. The ambitious learner says, I just need to understand this better. The early adopter says, I'm positioning myself for the wave. Translation, I don't want to risk being judged by reality.
Because reality has a scoreboard, and most of you have been playing games with no scoreboard on purpose. You know what has no scoreboard? Learning, reading, tweaking, planning, researching, tool testing, building systems nobody pays for. You know what has a scoreboard? Selling an outcome at a price you're slightly scared to say out loud. That's why being smart can keep you poor. You can build an entire identity around preparation and never cross into consequence. Sam Altman has said versions of this idea publicly, that AI will lower the cost of intelligence. The implication is simple. When intelligence becomes cheaper, you don't get paid for being intelligent. You get paid for being positioned. If AI gives everybody a competent brain on demand, then the differentiator becomes model, distribution, trust, and the ability to package outcomes. That's not a tools game. That's a business design game.
And the reason smart people struggle is because business design feels too simple to be respectable.
It feels insulting. You want the answer to be sophisticated. You want the answer to be a new technique. You want the answer to be the perfect stack. But markets don't care what you respect. Markets care what works. Let's talk about the 3 traps that keep intelligent people broke, especially with AI. First trap. Learning more makes the problem worse. Because learning increases your awareness of how much you don't know. So you delay action to reduce uncertainty. But in business, you don't reduce uncertainty by thinking. You reduce uncertainty by forcing the market to react. If you're building in private, you're not validating. You're fantasizing. Second trap. Perfectionism disguised as ambition. Perfectionism is not high standards. High standards are tested in public. Perfectionism is avoiding shipping anything that can be evaluated. You tell yourself you're protecting your reputation. You're not. You're protecting your ego. Third trap, being early without structure.
Being early can actually be a disadvantage, because when a category is early, the only thing that matters is who can sell an outcome with a clear promise and a clear price. Early is noisy, standards are undefined, everyone is shouting, and smart people hate shouting, so they retreat to the lab. Meanwhile, someone with half your IQ sells a clear result to a narrow market and wins. Now, I need to destroy something that's popular right now. Alex Hormozi is a monster at explaining fundamentals. He's helped a lot of people. But when it comes to how most people apply his volume of offers and do more outreach mentality, it becomes a sophisticated trap. Because the average person hears do more, and they build a lifestyle that requires constant output, constant selling, constant content, constant hustle. That was viable when attention was cheaper and competition was slower. In 2025 and 2026, AI amplifies output. So the people doing more are now competing against infinite more. If your advantage is volume, you're dead because machines do volume. What you need is not more activity.
You need a model that converts activity into money with high signal, not high noise. And this is where High Ticket 2.0 comes in. Not high ticket, like the old model where you book meetings all day and become a part-time therapist for strangers. That's High Ticket 1.0. High Ticket 1.0 is sell access to you, sell time, sell sessions, sell your calendar. It worked because scarcity was human attention. Now, AI plus global competition makes that model exhausting and fragile. High Ticket 2.0 is different. High Ticket 2.0 is sell one transformation, delivered through one system, with AI assisting delivery so you don't need a team and you don't need to live in meetings. The core idea is simple. You stop selling information and you start selling consequence. Consequence means the client gets a measurable shift. Revenue, pipeline, retention, conversion, saved time that turns into profit, a system that replaces chaos. And you price it like consequence, not like content.
Being early can actually be a disadvantage, because when a category is early, the only thing that matters is who can sell an outcome, with a clear promise and a clear price. Early is noisy, standards are undefined, everyone is shouting, and smart people hate shouting, so they retreat to the lab. Meanwhile, someone with half your IQ sells a clear result to a narrow market and wins.
Now, I need to destroy something that's popular right now. Alex Hormozi is a monster at explaining fundamentals. He's helped a lot of people, but when it comes to how most people apply his volume of offers and do more outreach mentality, it becomes a sophisticated trap. Because the average person hears do more, and they build a lifestyle that requires constant output, constant selling, constant content, constant hustle. That was viable when attention was cheaper and competition was slower. In 2025 and 2026, AI amplifies output. So the people doing more are now competing against infinite more. Let's do basic math, because math is where the bullshit dies. If you sell a $49 product, you need a lot of strangers. And the stranger acquisition machine becomes your job. If you sell a $499 product, you still need a lot of strangers, and now expectations are higher, refunds hurt more, and you're still dealing with volume.
If you sell a $2,500 transformation, you need 4 clients to make $10,000. You need 10 clients to make $25,000. You need 20 clients to make $50,000. That's not fantasy. That's arithmetic. And the point is not make big money. The point is volume stops being the strategy. When volume stops being the strategy, the model becomes stable enough for a one-person operation. That stability is what smart people actually want, but they keep chasing complexity because complexity feels like safety. Here's the real contrast. Low ticket is a dopamine business. You chase numbers, likes, open rates, clicks, traffic. You're always feeding the machine. Mid-ticket is invisible because it's not cheap enough to impulse buy and not expensive enough to demand serious commitment. It's the worst of both worlds. High-ticket 1.0 is outdated because it chains you to your calendar and your emotional bandwidth. You become the product, and the moment you get sick, bored, or burned out, revenue falls off a cliff.
High-ticket 2.0 is built for the AI era because AI replaces the labor that used to require assistants, editors, researchers, analysts, and ops people. So here's the identity shift I want you to make. And it's not emotional, it's operational. Stop being a creator, become an operator. A creator asks, what should I make? An operator asks, what system produces cash with control? A creator collects tools, an operator collects constraints. A creator wants freedom first, an operator earns freedom through structure. This is why I keep saying the enemy is invisible, because nobody tells you that you can work hard for years inside a model that cannot pay you. Society actually rewards it. People clap for your effort. They admire your knowledge. They say you're so disciplined. Meanwhile, you're broke, but only if the model is designed for it. AI doesn't replace your business model. AI punishes the model you chose. So if you're using AI inside a bad model, you're just accelerating the wrong thing. That's why AI makes bad models fail faster is not a cute quote. It's a warning label. Now let's talk about the invisible model in a way you can't unsee. The invisible model has 3 symptoms. Symptom 1. Your success metrics are internal. You measure how much you learned, how much you built, how organized your Notion is, how clean your workflow is, how advanced your prompts are, how many tabs you have open, how many books you finished. None of that is a market metric. Symptom 2. You have no pricing power. You feel weird charging because you're not sure what you're selling, so you underprice, or you give it away, or you beta test forever. Symptom 3. You don't have a narrow definition of done.
Your project can always be improved. Your offer can always be refined. Your website can always be better. Your content can always be more polished. So you live in infinite iteration. That is not ambition. That is avoidance with a productivity aesthetic. The fix is not motivation. You don't have a motivation problem. Motivation is what broke people talk about when they don't want to talk about model, because model forces decisions. Decisions create constraint. Constraint creates trade-offs. Trade-offs create identity. Identity creates consequence. And consequence scares people because comfort is addictive. Most people choose comfort over consequence. They choose the comfort of being almost ready. They choose the comfort of being the smart one. They choose the comfort of being the guy who knows. They choose the comfort of being early, because consequence would mean putting a price on an outcome and letting the market judge it.
It's the same historical pattern over and over. In the early days of factories, the hardest working people were not the richest. The people who owned the contract with the buyer were the richest. In the gold rush, the guys who sold shovels and owned the land infrastructure made money. The miners did the work. In modern tech, the engineers who build features are valuable, but the people who control distribution and pricing capture the upside. And in the AI era, the people who know the most prompts will not automatically win. The people who package outcomes into a high-trust, high-price offer will win. So what does structure actually mean here, without turning this into a tutorial? Structure means you pick one market problem that has money behind it. Not AI productivity. Not help people use ChatGPT. Not generic. A problem with a budget, a boss, and a reason to pay. Structure means you define one transformation you can deliver reliably.
Not 10 services, not custom solutions, not it depends. One clear outcome. Structure means you design delivery so it does not require constant human presence. This is where AI actually matters. It compresses research, production, analysis, iteration, and implementation, not as a shiny toy, as labor replacement inside a defined system. And structure means you validate through high ticket. High ticket is the fastest truth serum in business, because the second you ask for $2,000 to $3,000 or more, the market stops being polite. It either sees the value or it doesn't. That's what smart people avoid. They hide in low prices so they can tell themselves the rejection doesn't count. They hide in free content so they can pretend it's brand building. They hide in building tools so they can avoid selling. They hide in being early so they can avoid being accountable. And here's the part that will sting. AI gives you the perfect excuse to hide, because there is always more to learn. New models release, new agents, new workflows, new rumors, new capability jumps, so you can stay busy forever. But business is not built by keeping up. Business is built by locking in.
The winners in every era look boring from the outside. Henry Ford didn't win because he had more ideas. He won because he locked a system and scaled it. McDonald's didn't win because they had the best burger. They won because they made the burger predictable. Amazon didn't win because it had the coolest website. It won because it built distribution and logistics as infrastructure. Structure beats intelligence when intelligence is undisciplined. And most of you are undisciplined, not in effort, but in focus. You're trying to keep every option open because you think commitment is risk. Commitment is the only way to get paid. Now let me give you a simple lens you can use to spot whether you're in the invisible model. If you disappeared for 30 days, would your business keep producing money? If the answer is no, you don't have a model. You have a job you created for yourself.
And if your job is learning and posting, then you've built the most common AI career, the unpaid intern of your own life. That's the uncomfortable reality. Now, the filtering moment, because not everyone should do what I'm talking about. This is not for motivation addicts. If you need hype to move, you're going to hate this. This is not for shortcut seekers. AI is not a lottery ticket. It's a leverage tool, and leverage punishes sloppy thinking. This is not for people who want to cosplay entrepreneurship while staying comfortable. Comfort is expensive. It costs you your future. And it's not for people who want infinite freedom with zero constraint. That's childish.
This is for operators who want control. Control over your time. Control over your revenue. Control over your delivery. Control over your market position. And the weird thing is, smart people are the most likely to become operators once they stop worshiping complexity. Because you already have the horsepower. You just keep using it to run in circles. So here's the line I want you to remember. Learning more is often the problem. Not because knowledge is bad, because knowledge can become an addiction that protects you from consequence. AI makes bad models fail faster. Not because AI is evil, because AI removes the friction that used to hide your weak structure. And being smart can keep you poor. Not because intelligence is a curse, because intelligence gives you better excuses. If you want to work with me, there's an application link in the description. It's an audit of your situation, your offer, your model, your positioning, and what's actually blocking revenue.
If you're a fit, we move forward. If you're not, don't force it. And if this shifted how you see the problem, I send 1 letter a week where I think through these ideas in writing. Because the goal here isn't to collect tactics. The goal is to choose a model that can pay you, then build a system inside it. If you got value from this, you can subscribe, or don't. Either way, stop hiding behind intelligence. Pick a structure, let the market judge it, and build something that makes money even when you're not trying to prove how smart you are.